Spiritual Consultations by Rosalie Maas Stamp. Consultation with the Great Physician. How much respect and gratitude do we feel for the Great Physician? Miscellaneous Writings, page 151. We can enter the presence of this divine physician at any time, without delay. We do so through the door which is closed to error and open to truth, the door which shuts out sinful sense, but lets in truth, life, and love. Science and Health, page 15. As we go through this door, we drop the feelings of guilt and fear which mortal mind imposes upon us in the realm of belief. We become receptive to revelation, prepared not to fret and complain, but listen, learn, and accept. What we learn to accept is what we really are already in the sight of truth. What are the credentials of this physician par excellence? He, to put it in personal terms, is the all-knowing, all-seeing, all-acting, all-wise, all-loving, and eternal. Science and Health, page 587. If we sometimes wish that Jesus was here to help and heal, we have to ask ourselves, what did he call upon for his healing work? The same eternal mind, the same invincible truth, the same great liberating love. When we come face to face with this supreme physician and have felt refreshed by the clear spiritual air and mountaintop atmosphere, he examines us from this exalted plane and declares, "How I love to look at you and see true being expressed. You were drawn by perfect mind, and so you naturally reflect those higher conceptions of loveliness which transcend all material sense." Science and Health, page 247. I see in you perfection made manifest, uniquely and inerasably. In every direction I can only say, Thou art whole. When I look at you more closely, I see how mind delights in expressing itself as you, and that, because you offer no resistance to this ever-active, ever-restful mind, you are fully alert and intelligent. When I look in detail at the substance of your being, I see that it is pure and uncorrupted, spiritual through and through. There is not a trace of discord or decay, and nothing is developing but that which is good. I see the immortal nature of your identity, without a single bodily pleasure or pain. Science and Health, page 76. Calm and safe and full of joy. I see that the soul senses you reflect are in excellent order, enabling you to appreciate the detailed beauty of man and the real universe. I see your entire being as harmonious, governed perfectly by principle, and I love what I see. I love your continually inspired outlook, and I rejoice that you move and function freely, with the grace and spontaneity of life. I note that your spiritual form is erect and commanding. Science and Health, page 442. And I can say with certainty that disease has never invaded your consciousness, nor held it in subjection, for nothing reigns in you but the divine consciousness. I see that at the heart of your being is the fulfillment of love, and so you are at peace, but also continually enriched by the unselfed love that expresses love most beautifully. I have never known you as a mortal, never known you in error, never known you unloved or unloving. As far as I am concerned, you have always been a birthless, deathless being, always been perfect, unfallen man, always been loving and beloved, embraced in divine plan and purpose before the foundation of the world. If you ask what lies ahead, I can say with complete assurance that your life prospects are grand. Nothing awaits you but an unfolding individual and unique to you of life and truth and love. This is divinely impelled and will never cease, never be interfered with in any direction. Consultation with Christian Science. This preeminent physician now passes us on to his colleague, Christian Science, whose message, again put in personal terms, is as follows. You have heard this inspired and comprehensive review of your eternal being. As you return from that exalted viewpoint to the challenge of daily thoughts, keep your heart and mind responsive to all that truth has voiced. Bear in mind that the declarations and the consequent predictions which flow from this source are divinely authorized and sustained by incontrovertible laws. In the world which you may still believe you live in, you will have tribulation, as Jesus said, a momentous sorting out of concepts, and you will need to drop, very decisively, outworn arguments which cannot dwell along the pure truths you have been shown. But Jesus of Nazareth has demonstrated for you the way to do as he did and overcome the world. Cease believing in its edicts and strictures through meeting and mastering them specifically, persistently, and fearlessly with truth's ideas. Whatever the arguments that may crowd in, let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. The Christ will not do your work for you, but has promised to be with you always. It will keep you inspired with fresh ideas while you do your own work, as Jesus did before you. It will continually show you the line of light to pursue towards a destination already present in truth. The first thing I say to you is this: be not afraid. I know this will at once diminish your fear, for I speak with total conviction and immense love. All the forces and resources of life, truth, and love are on your side. In reality, there are not two sides, but only one. You accept this in arithmetic. Accept it in the science of being. I will always show you that a spiritual birth is going on. Because it comes down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, it is divinely designed and exactly right for you. I will also convince you on every plane that the disturbance you feel is not physical, not caused by the body, and not in the body. It is induced by a false sense mentally entertained, not destroyed. Science and Health, page 411. And so it can and will be destroyed by the very ideas of mind which are needed for valuable spiritual progress. You will cease to honor the transient testimony of a mirage of mortal mind, however real it appears, just as you have learned to disregard the false evidence that the sun rises and sets. You will no longer bow down to any so-called science which would bind you to a long history and condemn you to further decline. And you will stop allowing yourself to be relegated to a sunless corner. Instead, you will look and walk expectantly towards the sunny realm of truth and love. I shall lift another burden from your thought by showing that in every case the lie is not personal in origin. It is a general lie that is part of the vain attempt to hide from men the omnipresence of spiritual good. Eve had the right impersonal outlook when she said, "The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat." You need to admit that in the realm of belief you ate. But it is vital to go on to recognize the root of the trouble, the serpentine supposition that man can in reality be drawn away from the principle which uninterruptedly expresses itself as his true being and real inclinations. I will also show you the truth which applies specifically to you. In doing this, I shall unmask the errors which have temporarily prevented you from enjoying your birthright. You may be dismayed by what I bring to your attention, but it is essential that you take up serpents. They may have lain undisturbed for generations. The wisdom of God, as revealed in Christian Science, brings the serpent out of its hole, handles it, and takes away its sting. Miscellaneous Writings, page 210. For example, if it is necessary, I will compel you to confront and give up the resentment eating away at your joy, the pain in your mind you have not felt able to renounce. It will dissolve in the bliss of unconditional, outreaching love and forgiveness. Or I will uncover the willful interference you have indulged in or suffered from without seeing the danger. I will bring you to acknowledge that God, not man, governs all and carries on his harmony. Miscellaneous Writings, page 353. Or I will open your eyes to the harshness you have not replaced with understanding, humor, and affection. Or I will force you to exchange persistent worry about supply for an enlarged sense of the plenitude of spiritual resources and their present expression. If you are harboring fear of a disease which you believed killed someone or gave someone else years of suffering, I will not allow that fear to go on lurking in your thought. I will insist that you fully accept, either in a flash or little by little, that no one has ever died in the unbroken infinitude of life or been banished from the sunshine of love. I will uproot the rotten seed so that it cannot come up in your thought or experience. I will never leave you until I have led you through that valley of the shadow of death to the point where it buds and blossoms as the rose. In each case, you will find that the particular state of thought out of harmony with the nature of God was foreign to your real self. You are glad to separate yourself from its grasp and realize more keenly where your consciousness was actually at home, even while you seemed immersed in the dream of discord. Unless you take up serpents, you cannot remove their stings. The inflamed and wounded feelings they can generate, but only until you handle them with truth and discover that they are powerless to harm. When you let the graciousness of truth and love flow in, the misconceptions are flooded. The example of Jesus is an inspiration. With the affluence of truth, he vanquished error. Science and Health, page 54. Taking up serpents has a marked effect on health and well-being. For when the supposed suffering is gone from mortal mind, there can be no pain. Science and Health, page 421. When the sense of being a helpless victim, for instance, is relinquished for acceptance of conscious dominion, there can be no more of the pained feelings, mental and apparently physical, which attended the mistaken view. The truth reaches to every part of the human system. Science and Health, page 423. Allow it to do so. You may feel tempted to be discouraged and fearful if the pain does not disappear as soon as you hoped, and it seems that real matter is still manifesting the error. But my advice is this: do not watch the effects, but only what governs them. Watch the whole tone and spirit of your consciousness in honest response to the leadings of truth and love. If you care for that above all, the temporary expression called body will reflect it. If you want a dog to wag his tail, you make sure the dog is happy. The tail will confirm the state of thought. Be calmly confident that God's work is done, is perfect and complete, and that healing is bound to unfold because the truth is already established. If divine love is becoming nearer, dearer, and more real to you, you can be certain that matter is submitting to spirit. See Science and Health, page 239. Love will never cease to take further and deeper its revelations and blessings in every direction of thought and experience, and the human picture has no power to resist this. As you faithfully take truth's ideas to feed and satisfy your thought, you will find yourself stirred to a change of standpoint in every aspect of your life, a change in what you regard as real and dynamic. Both science and consciousness will now be at work in the economy of being according to the law of mind, which will ultimately assert its absolute supremacy. Science and Health, page 423. Spirit will form you anew. Science and Health, page 425. When you trust in truth, to the exclusion of all other trusts, there will be all the reconstruction, renewal, and regeneration that is required. Truth will fulfill in you its perfect work. Whatever should be dissolved in thought and its manifestation will be dissolved. One day, sooner or later, you will acknowledge that the only truly radical and efficacious surgery is that which employs a method infinitely above that of human invention. Science and Health, page 44. Faultless and sure. You will feel encompassed with care, and the more you appreciate this replenishing ministry, the more you will experience it. A spirit more Christ-like will pervade your life, and you will express a lovelier love, a truer courage and patience, a better sense of perspective, a deeper praise for principle. You will feel increasingly at home as you arrive in your consciousness nearer and nearer to where the consciousness of truth has always held you. Your own best proof of healing will be a sweet and certain sense that God is love. Science and Health, page 569. What I do for you will not have a merely temporary effect, for I will not leave you with just an improved belief of health within a real material body. I will be bringing you all the time to an understanding of what true health is, the absolute consciousness of harmony and of nothing else. Rudimentary Divine Science, page 11. I shall always be leading you into the truth of science and interpreting everything within its infinite embrace. You will no longer believe that you are an isolated unit, battling on your own against hostile forces, but will feel established in all that God is. And you will know yourself held safely within the divine energies and laws in one great purposeful whole, to the glory of the one principle. Christian Science then ends the consultation with these words: I love to give you these certainties and feel your instinctive response as a man of science. Never forget, dear friend, that I am your best friend and constant companion. All that I say to you is based on the Gospels, seen in their science. The great teacher, who proved everything he taught, said to the whole human family, and without conditions, Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Again and again, we can watch him working primarily from the standpoint of divinity. Before he raised Lazarus, he said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. And then, secondarily and necessarily, completing his work by liberating the individual from ever-relevant argument of mortal mind through what has since been recognized as Christian Science. He demonstrated what Christian Science later elucidated through Mary Baker Eddy. If sickness is true, or the idea of truth, you cannot destroy sickness, and it would be absurd to try. Then classify sickness and error as our Master did, when he spoke of the sick whom Satan hath bound, and find a sovereign antidote for error in the life-giving power of truth acting on human belief, a power which opens the prison doors to such as are bound, and sets the captive free, physically and morally. Science and Health, page 495. These two consultations reveal how privileged each of us is to be under the care of both the inspired divine physician and his practical colleague, Christian Science. For they are perfectly complementary as the human and divine coincidence. The first lifts us to the plane of divinity, and the second shows us divinity embracing humanity in life and its demonstration, reducing to human perception and understanding the life which is God. Science and Health, page 561.